So your boy's pretty sick today. I slept 12 hours last night and I feel like I could probably sleep another 24. I just got a cold, a flu, I don't know what I got, but that's not going to stop me from talking about Buddy Daddies episode 2, because I quite enjoyed it. I was a big fan of episode 1. I said it was one of my favorite first episodes of the season, and I still think this is one of the stronger shows of the season. I think PA Works doesn't miss these days. PA Works has never really missed in my opinion, but I think honestly the past couple of years, they've entered a new ballpark on workplace series, and the concept of taking your kid to work day when you're literally trained killers, it's about as chaotic and hilarious as you would expect. But at the same time, you have to really look at Miri, this child, and you really have to start breaking down the walls, and it feels like, similar to Anya from Spy Family, without going into too many specifics if you still haven't checked that show out yet and you want to, these characters are ones that are meme faces for days. There are so many funny faces or adorable faces in the case of Miri, and Anya's kind of more of that chaotic meme energy. But when you look at both of the characters' past, they definitely have some dark scars that they are covering up. And in the case of Miri, you might be able to argue maybe it's a little too soon to jump to that conclusion. But the fact that she was way too comfortable around that gun, even if she was under the impression that it was fake and not loaded, she was in the middle of a firefight and she was getting shot at, and you can argue, sure, maybe she was just a kid thinking it was all pretend, and that is completely possible. But when you consider the fact that they confirmed that it wasn't actually our boy who ended up being her father, but it was the mafia guy they killed last week, the mother's identity and where she is up in the air, it feels to me that we're building into something rather dark, and I'm not sure how any of these characters are going to deal with it when eventually the truth does come out. Now, before we jump any further into the video, I do gotta make a mention, we do have a full live reaction on the Patreon, so if you want to see that and future reactions, do consider supporting, but yes, we need to talk about this, and I really do want to dive into Miri's character first and foremost, because when you really consider the fact that Miri, a child, we ended up having her not only locate her father's location and whereabouts, she did that seemingly all by herself. And the fact that she, in this episode, it's when she was talking about the food, she says, hey, mom's food's better, and yours isn't even close to being as good. And they have a funny moment in reaction with that, but she's talking about how, she wonders how she's doing. It's entirely possible the mom's alive and well, and nothing has happened to her. It's entirely possible that the reason Miri can laugh at the face of gun bullets being fired every which direction is she thought it was complete playtime. But when you consider the fact that in 2 episodes, Buddy Daddies has shown us as much death and carnage as we've seen, this is a show that most likely has done some things to this family. And the fact of the matter was, we get the confirmation. I got it wrong last week, and I was happy to see I wasn't the only one getting it wrong. Turns out that no, the dude we killed last week is in fact Miri's father. And the fact that he was so similar to our boy, myself and others got it mistaken, but it was pointed out and it made a lot of sense. And it wasn't done for random reasons. The show most definitely made these two look similar so that she would be able to accept him as the one in the picture, right? But the fact that you have the mother who was blackmailing the father, right? The father, big man in a criminal organization. The fact that she said, pay me money or I will expose the truth and your wife probably won't like that. You have to consider the possibility that either A, because the way they were directing it was that she had the envelope and everything and was going to give it, but would a mother really send her daughter into a criminal area? Possibly if she was a horrible mother, but based on the picture it didn't seem that way. So I'm kind of suspecting that she ended up grabbing that somehow, but maybe the mom ended up dying. What if the wife of this man ended up ordering a hit? What if he ordered a hit and she ended up escaping because mom in her dying moments gave her that envelope and said, find your father? I don't know. There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of uncertainties. And my spitballing here could be completely off the mark, but it just feels like this show wants you to build into that comfy Buddy Daddies atmosphere where these two, Uncle Ray and fake dad turned real dad, are going to have this very oddball family dynamic, but over time, one, we know for sure, Miri's going to learn the truth that fake dad killed the real dad, and how she takes that, I don't know. But I think the mother's identity, how she was able to survive on her own to get to that location, she just seems like there's some PTSD there. Now, like I said, this could be completely off the mark, and maybe she is just an adorable child who's thrown into a wacky environment that's a little brutal. That could work, and that could be the direction. But when you really consider what we've seen over 2 episodes, this doesn't seem like a show where mom's living a happy life somewhere, and it just seems like this girl has seen a few gunfights in her time, but I guess only time will tell, right? Really, only time will tell. But this is what I like about shows like these, because it gets your mind racing and it allows you to start speculating beyond just accepting things at face value. It's, oh, this girl is the daughter of some gang member, now she's a part of Buddy Daddy's operation. No, there's a lot of uncertainty here, and that makes it very exciting as a weekly watch. And in terms of just seeing the chaotic energy that she brings to the table, it's amazing. Her inside their apartment was chaotic gold, but her going on the mission because she was throwing a temper tantrum and then she had to pee, so she then rings the doorbell of the place you're basically bugging so that you can end up assassinating someone. It's hard not to say that these scenes write themselves, and it has me very eager for more. I mean, as someone who was sold on the concept of these missions and how brutal everything was, I think it was pretty obvious that her tagging along would be, at some point, take your daughter to work day, or at the very least, the apartment would become pure chaos. I just wasn't expecting the apartment to then, in return, have her casually pull a gun up and say, boom, or have her casually almost ruin the mission. Well, actually, she technically did ruin the mission because then they got kicked off said mission and another dude had to take up the job. But it's interesting, right? Because right now they're trying to build it up as they're going to give her up, right? We're getting this information on who she truly was, and this is all from their point of view going to be over sooner than later. But we're only 2 episodes into the show, and we know damn well that this is going to stick around. And whether it's going to happen because he decides to go against the rules, like, hey, maybe his boss, the person who's been paying him and giving him these jobs, are saying you need to give the girl up. Maybe he'll grow connected and say no. There's some chaos that could pop up there. But in terms of having an emotional story hook, they do. I mean, you have the uncertainty of her mom, and dad was a criminal who ended up getting killed by you. So then you have that story hook of building that real family bond and adorable energy, but then you have that darker undertone of not knowing how dark her past truly will get. And even if her past is mostly clean right now, being involved in the way that she is, darkness will still be on her horizon, but this colorful atmosphere definitely keeps it not edgy or overly gory, so even when characters are getting blasted on screen, it's no wonder why you can have a girl cover her ears and be smiling because she's closing her eyes thinking it's playtime, and they don't go so overboard visually that it becomes grotesque. Like I said, I really like this show. I think it's special. I think it's actually one of the more refreshing shows of the season. Maybe it's not for everyone, but I saw a lot of people say, like, I expected nothing from this show, but I checked it out and was pleasantly surprised. And hopefully this one will just gain hype more and more as the episodes go on, because I think in terms of anime studios, PA Works is the one that you guarantee need to check out the first episode of pretty much anything they make these days, because they're just doing things different. Not only do they have so many original shows, the fact that their workplace series are getting kind of as chaotic and violent as they are, and twisting so many genres on its head, it's hard not to love what PA Works is doing, but of course, that's just me. Let me know what you thought of this episode down below. Are you going to keep on watching Buddy Daddies? Do let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Like I mentioned, full live reaction is available on the Patreon, and while you're there, you can also get yourself video shout out like a few are about to get here. So we got Power9987, Coconut, and Eleanor Bailey-Tufts. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.